Hello and welcome to a new episode of Love Notes from Laya. I'm so excited to be here today, and you may notice that our background's a little different than usual. I woke up this morning and I was yearning for nature so badly. I was reading this incredible book. I actually have it here with me called The Intersectional Environmentalist by Leah Thomas. I just started it, so I'm sure there'll be more coming from it later on. But as I was reading about these movements and the climate justice and intersectional environmentalist justice movement, I just felt so disconnected from nature itself. And I woke up in, my beautiful apartment, which is in a lovely city, but it's so city. I'm so surrounded by noise, and there's construction happening right outside my window, and I have shops and offices all around me. And all I wanted to do was just hear the sounds of the birds. And so I sat down with my journal and I was trying to figure out, what do I really need to do today? What were my tangible deliverables that I had to get done? And in a very silly way, I was just like, well, why don't I just go outside and do them? I could be at my co-working space. I could be at home doing the things that I need to do today, or I could just go to the park and do it from there. So I just packed up my stuff, brought my laptop, have my phone, have my microphone, my journal, all of the things that I really need to have a beautiful day, and brought it here to the park. So this is my workplace for the day and the place where I get to exist. And one of the things that I was really thinking about as I was thinking of why I wanted to go to nature and this pull towards nature and why I felt so much guilt for it is why this idea of productivity has hijacked us and made us think that we need to be inside to be productive. Who thought that in order for us to actually be able to go out and do the things that we need to do, we need to be inside in an office, in a cubicle? Genuinely, I think some of my most creative ideas and some of the best and most beautiful work that I've done has been outdoors. I literally just take my journal with me. I'll sit out. I have my laptop. So many times I just come out with my laptop and genuinely answer emails, do my emails, move through the process of something that I need to do. I've done courses and lessons, all just sitting on this blanket in this exact park. But it still feels like we're not giving it our full, or we're not fully diving in, creating this deep space for knowledge and productivity if we're in nature. And I was trying to really piece through to say, where did that come from? When did we decide that this lens of productivity had to happen inside four walls, when actually so much more connection can come and so much more inspiration can come from just being outdoors and being in connection with the planet that we are living in, being in connection with the plants and the trees and the birds. I feel like my work has so much more purpose when I do that, because it's continuously reminding me of the why. Why am I working towards this? Why am I walking my own path? What is the reason behind all of this time and energy that I'm expending in trying to create a life for myself, a career for myself? It's so that I can enjoy this. It's so that I can actually be in nature and get to give back to it as well, create a reciprocal environment where I get to give so much of my creations back to nature, get inspired by it. Now also, as I'm building a business, I want to grow my business to a point where I can continuously circulate 10% of my earnings to conservation initiatives. Nothing feels more fulfilling to me than actually being able to give back to nature itself and to get to a place where I can just spend my evenings in my little farm or with my hands in the nature, being in the garden. So that was a little tangent, but it really stuck with me that I remember I invited a friend to co-work last week, and she was also really craving time outdoors. And I was like, why don't we just take our laptop outside and we can co-work in the park? And I was met with I can't be productive out there. And I guess that also really stuck with me, because who decided that we can't do the work that we want to do outdoors? And I do believe that there needs to be a balance, right? We do need to be able to be outdoors and genuinely enjoy the outdoors. And that is just as important. But I also think that we can see the outdoors as a motivator and something to help push us to keep working in a deeply purposeful way, and to actually also rethink the way that we work, because so much of our work right now is like sit in front of a laptop and get this done. But actually, like, what if we just took our journals out and actually spent time thinking and devising new ideas and allowing pen to paper, to shine through. So it is a different way of seeing productivity and work and what we can accomplish and how we accomplish certain things. But I do think that there is a lot of reality and reason. There's a cute little spider crawling down my phone charger, and it just looks so sweet, like grasping onto it. See, these are the beautiful little things that happen when we're outdoors. And I also love how animals make me think of certain aspects of nature as well. I'm moving here a little bit more to the shade. Like spiders just remind me of this deep weaving nature. Ooh, hello, little ant. Okay. Well, maybe this is proving my point that it can be a bit harder to focus while in nature, but why wouldn't we want to work in this way? Like, why wouldn't we want to work in a way that actually allows us to cohabit with the world around us? It just feels like that's genuinely what we were meant to do. Feels very dystopian to think about these cubicles and the way in which we've created work environments that so deeply distance us from nature. And no wonder there's so much fear and destruction, when actually we should be consistently engaging and interacting with our elements. I also just wanted to talk about the importance of being in nature more generally. I've already touched upon this gently in what I've been speaking about so far, but when I'm in nature, I feel just such a deeper sense of calmness inside of me. I feel such deep connection to myself and to the world. I feel such deep awe for the elements and everything that's been created. Like, as I'm looking around me, right, it's a bright blue sky. It's a heat wave here, so it's boiling, but how beautiful to get to experience also warmth and summer. And the summer solstice, I always like to take a few moments to reflect on how the year has gone so far. It's almost a halfway point to the year. And when the year started in January, right, we set these like New Year's intentions and we think about what we want the year to bring. And then we just move along. And especially like the first few months of the year, January, February, March, like it's cold, it's winter, we're not really moving forward. But then kind of March, April, May come around and we're really starting to move with momentum. And then June arrives and July, and we're like halfway through the year. And so I find the solstice a beautiful moment to actually check in with ourselves and say, how are the goals that I set at the beginning of the year going? What do I need to keep working on? What do I want to reprioritize? What habits need to change? What ways do I need to reshuffle my priorities, my time, to make sure that I'm moving forward in a way that actually I want to, and that will help me achieve the goals that I set at the beginning of the year for myself. And of course, goals can shift and change, but it's just about staying accountable to create the changes that you want to see for yourself in your own life. So I always find the heat and the summer a really beautiful reminder of this kind of halfway point. And it also brings me back to those winter months where all you want is heat and warmth. And even though a heat wave can be difficult, even though a heat wave also reminds me deeply of climate change and climate destruction, which can also go hand in hand, but it also reminds me of the joy of being in summer and how much we crave for it in the winter months and how much we get to deeply enjoy it now. Back to that feeling of like we're always going for the things that we don't have. What if we actually took a moment to appreciate the things that we do have, knowing that they are temporary and they are cyclical and they will be going away in a few more months? So can we really take the time to soak in and nurture this time that we get to be outdoors in the heat, in shorts, in the warmth, sweating with sunscreen on? Like, oh, there's such a beauty in that. So, yeah, I'm looking up at the blue sky. I see all the little vines and ivy growing on the trees, the moss. There's just so much greenery here. And there's little berries, which definitely don't look like edible berries, but they are bright red and so, so beautiful. And there's so much stinging nettle here as well, which as I've been getting a little deeper into herbalism, I'm starting to realize just the deep benefits and that these herbs can have for ourselves. And it just gives me so much reverence for the way in which nature has just given us so much that we get to work with and play with. And I think so much of this life's journey, and especially our time and age right now, is actually going back to these ways of living and returning to the gifts that nature gave us instead of turning towards technological advances and the age of AI and all these things. Like, what if we came back to the age of herbalism and the age of giving back and rerouting? So that is something I'm questioning and pondering to myself. And on the topic of AI and productivity, I read this book, Slow Productivity, several months ago, and it really helped me start to think about the ways that we see productivity in today's day and age. So much of it is this busyness, right? Like, how full are our schedules and how busy do we feel and how much busy work are we doing? But what the author talks about in Slow Productivity is this whole idea that actual bodies of work are built in with this spaciousness and with this time. A full schedule is not really indicative of an ability to create these beautiful bodies of work. And it takes us through authors and creatives and writers and artists who throughout the time ended up creating so much art and so much beauty. And maybe their days looked very different to someone who has a stacked 9 to 5 with meetings. It had a lot of this breathing space, but how this breathing space actually creates the time and the space for us to find new creative ideas and think and put ourselves outside of the box and allow ideas to come when they need to come. And I like to think about this a lot, especially nowadays in the age of AI and all of these technological advances, because one of the things that we are most at risk of losing, or what I am perceiving as the thing that we're most at risk of losing in this age of AI, is actually our creative power, our imagination, and the ability to like turn an idea and get stuck and have to think through it and move forward. So many people are using AI to write for them, to come up with concepts, to come up with ideas, when that is just hurting our creative potential so much and so deeply. So I really think that spending time outdoors gives us this breathing space as well to actually churn out through different ideas, to get to know and to love and to appreciate the whole creative process, and to allow ourselves to like nail bite or pen tech or do whatever it is that we need to do in order to move this creative idea along, and to give our imagination the time and space that it needs to create beautiful bodies of work, and bodies of work that actually feel our own. So I would almost take it to this place of saying that I think spending time and working in nature is actually a beautiful and radical thing that we can do in this time of AI, especially if we're giving this time in nature the breathing space and the time to help us generate new ideas and new stories and new offerings and new writing and new art. That's how we meet it. There's nothing that can take away that beauty of knowing that you've deeply put in the time, that you've had a conversation with the earth and the nature and the elements and allowed something to come and to be created through that and because of that. And on the final topic of technology, I also wanted to talk about our phones, because I do see this come up so much right now in my client sessions and the people that I'm speaking with, as well as even in myself, like how we are continuously using our phone as this distraction mechanism and the attention economy, and how we're consistently being asked and pulled in so many directions for our attention, and we're finding ourselves just like doom scrolling and falling down this deep, just scrolling environment, when one of the best things that we can do to get ourselves out of that scrolling and to actually create spaciousness for us to connect with ourselves, with our desires, with our stories, with the change that we want to make in the world, with the things that we want to move along, with daydreaming and spaciousness to derive and create realities for ourselves that actually feel really good, is by making time and making space for us to simply do nothing. And so much of that is being in nature. I saw this infographic when I was scrolling that looked at how people spent their time in throughout different like decades, right? And what I noticed was so much time before used to be, I think it was like the top 5 or top 6 things that people did to spend their time was actually doing nothing. A lot of it was working, being with people. A lot of it was being in community, cooking, reading the newspaper. It was like listening to the radio as well. Like this was before streaming and all of these things. But I was really shocked specifically by the doing nothing one, because that was ranked so high. And I think about it and it makes sense, right? So many of the people who came before us spent so much time doing nothing because there was that spaciousness to just like be and think, and you finished what you had to do that day, whether you were working or whether you were gardening or whether you were doing whatever it is that you were doing, and you had the spaciousness to just be. Maybe you went to hang out with your community and spent time doing nothing in community or with each other, or maybe you were chatting, or maybe you were just sitting by yourself and chilling. But there was so much time that was dedicated to the act of doing nothing. And nowadays, so little bit of our time is dedicated to doing nothing. And so many people run away from the simple act of doing nothing, like genuinely doing nothing. Sitting at this park, for example, on this blanket with no technology, no stimulation, and just literally looking around, doing nothing, genuinely doing nothing. And yeah, it was very intense to see how the way we spend our time has changed so drastically into now what is mostly, oh my God, the bird! I don't know if you can see it, but it's right over there. How much of our time has been consumed by this streaming, music, TV, the amount of hours that we spend watching TV. I can't think of something more disassociating than spending so much time engrossed in this. Commuting also increased incredibly. So scrolling, right? Social media, texting was a really big one, where it was like time with friends actually decreased greatly, but time that we spent texting increased immensely. What does that mean for our social interactions? And how can we make sure that we're still creating and building and developing deep social interactions? And yeah, I feel like there's a big philosophical question that could be opened there. I don't necessarily want to go there right now, but so much of what I believe can deeply help us get back to a place where we are more comfortable with the act of doing nothing, and we are more comfortable creating this spaciousness for ourselves, because this spaciousness, like I talk so much about the idea of presence and how to develop presence with yourself and with your life, and tools and practices that can help us become present within what it is that we are doing and who it is that we are. Just being in a park, in nature, really taking the time to actually savor, to be here with the elements, with the animals, with the birds, with the bugs, with the slugs, with everything, actually forces us to be in the moment. I feel so deeply in the moment by just being here. And even though I'm recording a podcast, like I'm speaking to you all, but there is a bird walking behind, and every time I catch a glimpse of this bird just doing its bird thing, it anchors me back into this reality, this experience, this world, this earth. So I think I'm going to leave it here for now, because I think there's been enough little ideas and lessons and thoughts that have been shared. But I really want to see this coming back to nature as a way to build such a deeper connection to yourself, to who you are, to connect with the idea of having a craft, of developing a craft, of what it looks like to slowly and spaciously and deliciously develop artistry, develop craft, develop imagination. And that can really look like creating this environment where you can have relationship to the elements and to the world around you. And also to deeply connect to the earth. We're so disconnected from all of these little things, the land, the bugs, the birds, the animals. We feel so disconnected from it all. And when we actually have to just spend more time there, we develop such a deeper and richer relationship to the beautiful gift that is simply being alive, that is getting to be on this planet, that is getting to experience this amazing planet full of water and plants and growth and climate. So yeah, I really hope that this podcast episode has made you think a little bit more about how to develop a deeper sense of nature, to feel that call, that whenever you feel the pull to go be with nature, go and follow it and see what it looks like to just bring your life along with you, right? For me, that today was bringing my work along with me to come to the park. But that can also look like bring your family out to go to the park. Bring your hobbies out to the park. Find things that you can genuinely just translate from I'm going to do this at home to I'm going to do this outside, especially in the summer months and in the early fall, late spring, when we actually can spend this immense amount of time outdoors. We have this gift, let's relish it. So, yeah, and I deeply hope that just by creating this relationship with yourself and with elements, you just develop such deeper care for yourself, for the people in your space, in your community, and for the world at large, because the world needs us. The world really needs us. The world needs us to care, and it will keep giving us reciprocity and generosity and love and care when we give it that care. So take a moment for yourself. Go be with nature and show it that you care. Show it that it can give you so much. Thanks for tuning in. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your days. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that stuck out to you, any ideas or thoughts that have just been simmering, or the ways in which you like to enjoy nature. Big, big hugs and lots of love from Laya. Mwah.